Hey everyone, this is Mo, the Gnostic warrior, founder of the Order of the Gnostics here. And the title of this video that I'm doing today from my house here in beautiful Fallbrook, California, San Diego, California, is called Find Out What Is Really Going On in the World Today and Why You're So Confused. And this is a kind of a topic that really touches my heart because I also have been a little bit screwed up and confused to finding out what's going on, who I am. And this process has led me all the way back to myself. And I know that's it's a weird thing to say, but it's the whole basis of Gnosticism and why we practice Gnosis. And as many of you know out there, the term Gnosis means knowledge, and in a more scientific sense, it means the knowledge of the self. And if we go broader into the Gnostic teachings, it's the Gnostics who explain the world, how it worked, from the heavens on the as above to the so below here on earth, and then also with the archons, who are a very prevalent force in Gnostic writings, and they're talked about a lot. And the archons essentially are the government. Okay, those are the people that rule over us. And if we look at the word government, okay, it's a combination of two words. One of the words, of course, is govern, and that means to rule over. And the next word is mente, and it's an old word that means mind, and it's a form of mentis or menti, which also means those who are incapable of controlling their own mind. Okay, so if we look at all the different societies that are ruling today, and what they're ruled over is by governments, okay? And the reason that we have governments, and there's not, anarchy, as some people would like out there. You guys are anarchists, and I appreciate you. That's your path, but anarchy is not where we want to go today. Okay, so that's why we have governments, because most people today, they cannot control their mind. They're not in control of it. Okay, and keep in mind that you're watching some guy today who has been there, and I still suffer from some of these same issues. And I've come to the realization today that one of the main reasons that I'm so confused, the public's so confused as to what's going on out there, is that we're relying on people outside of ourselves for knowledge and to give us information or to tell us what's going on. And a lot of this knowledge that you guys find in media, whether it's on Fox News, CNN, or whether you go to alternative media like Alex Jones, InfoWars, or any of those media stations, you guys are going to get pulled into this chaos, okay? And it's complete chaos. We're ruled by what I like to say is black magic. Okay, we're not in a system right now where it's white magic and we're being told the truth of what is really going on, who's ruling over us, who are our masters, who's fighting who. A lot of what is being told out there is disinformation, and it's on purpose to us citizens, us subjects, who some people might just call us slaves, like we used to be called in the past before that term was changed into citizens, into plebs, as it was in Rome, etc. And the whole idea was to keep information, the idea of media and this disinformation and this black magic, it got put into every place in our society, from religion to the ruling of our townships, of our tribes. It got put in place of our tax revenues, which used to be called tributes. So, when we pay our tributes, we are paying our taxes, okay? We are contributing part of our worth, part of our earnings to a specific master who rules over us. And of course, right now, we don't know that, but we are starting to get some truths out there in the media. And one of these truths that is out there, I know this is kind of going into a different field, is is the stuff going on with Russia. Okay, a lot of people out there, they don't understand exactly what's going on. You know, we have this Russia, Putin and the FSB, did they intervene in the elections and, all this stuff? And if you look at Russia and what part they play in what we could call an old world order, is these guys are the Normans, okay? Norman is just a French word that means Northman, okay? The Northmen came in a long time ago, guys, and they conquered France, okay? That was Normandy. They came in there. They conquered Greece, okay? They took the capital, Constantinople, back in the 9th century, the 10th century AD. A powerful force. And the Rus are the Russian Orthodox Church today. Okay, that is the spiritual house for the people, the Rus, the tribe of the Rus, okay? And they've been in power for a long time, and they've conquered a lot of lands. So Putin, who is in charge of the Rus and essentially is the president of the Russian Republic, is one of the most powerful people in the world today, no doubt about it. The Rus are the most oldest royal houses in all of Europe, okay? And if you look back further, you will see that there was other royal houses that were also involved during this time, and they were helping the Rus, okay? So where am I getting at? I'm getting at that we've been for over 2,000 years in a war, okay? And wars are managed through information and control of information, and that information is still being controlled. It's still being used against us and so forth. And this information is being distributed via chaos magic, okay? Chaos magic is a way of managing the people in a way that serves the powers that be, whoever those powers may be. And in my conclusion of studying history is that Russia is one of the most powerful people here in the West as far as a tribe goes. And if we were going to look into the east of what's going on there, no doubt about it, the Ottomans, the Ottoman Turks, Turkey, I mean, they control much of all of Greece. And if people don't think it's about war and control and races, then you haven't studied history, guys. You have no idea what's going on. They named us races for a reason, because there is a race. And that race, we are seeing the end of it right now. And the people that were once behind the scenes, that were essentially ruling behind, like the Hyksos rulers of Egypt that ruled from foreign lands. If we look at the word Hyksos, it basically means foreign ruler. And what they realized back then, 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, is that to rule in the same land that you have conquered is more often a death sentence for the new rulers and the conquerors, because the people that are of that land, that tribe, that race, had always revolted against their conquerors and killed them and beheaded them and so forth. So the way to rule a race once you conquered them was to put in visors or lords from that same race who would collect the tributes from that tribe that you had conquered. Okay, today we call those taxes, etc. So this has happened for thousands of years. Who we see as our rulers, whether it be here in the United States, whether that be in a different country, whether that's in England and you have the Queen. Of course, where's the king, right? You don't have a king there because the king is somewhere else that we don't know. And I feel that in the coming years, maybe not in my lifetime, but quite possibly in my children's lifetime, we will see who these rulers are, and we will know who exactly rules over us. Kind of like what happens in the Islamic countries. You have your different kings and so forth that are ruling over the people, and you know exactly what's going on. You know exactly what's going to happen if you do something. Oh, sorry about that. That's my air conditioning turning on. But so why are we so confused? It goes back to the same term that I keep saying. It's black magic. We're ruled via black magic. Black magic is lies. It's subterfuge. It's sucking people's energy into your system so you could use it to your advantage. And that's how I feel that we're basically ruled today. Is we're ruled via this black magic, this satanic type of teaching that basically rules over us. So if any of you guys want to kind of comment out there on what I mean by this black magic, please tell me. Thank you for liking the video. I don't do a lot of these. The reason I'm not a kind of guy that likes to go in front of the camera, I think a lot of you out there can relate with that. It's kind of hard to put yourself out there and do these videos and talk. You know, there's no script or anything, but I know video is huge, and it's going to be huge to get the message out there to the people. You know, the people that are watching this live, thank you for listening in, all you Gnostic warriors around the world. And what I want to do is I want to bring us all together and, you know, build a community. And that was the idea with the Order of the Gnostics and with GnosticWarrior.com. Yeah, Spencer, we are all black magicians in amnesia. Definitely. Gino, great information, well put, thank you. To you, Spencer, I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I do believe that I was part of that black magician force, the priesthood, etc., in a previous life. And my family goes back all the way to Crete, and a lot of people don't know about Crete. It's one of the most hidden holy islands in the world right now. And actually the Rus, the Muscovites and so forth, they came from Crete. A lot of the tribes that control the world today are from the island of Crete. And Crete is where we get the birthplace of Western civilization. And if you look at the history of Crete, this is where magic and the current world that we live in had originated. Okay, so yes, we are all black magicians with amnesia, and I think a lot of us are suffering from that karma that we had taken on the island of Crete. And a lot of us had went out from Crete. Of course, there's people from all over the world, but Crete was a major place in the world that we see today. A lot of the saints were born there. I believe that Jesus, who I think is a code name for a very important Roman emperor that started the 6th age, and I'll get into another podcast on that, and that would be Augustus Caesar, who, if we look back at the history of the Gnostics and over the last 2,000 years, it was Augustus Caesar who conquered Greco-Roman Egypt in about the 8th century AD, and he had changed the calendar at that time. Okay, so the Greco-Egyptians, guys, they were very powerful, and they were actually in league with Rome for some time, and there was a lot of disputes. As we could see in politics today, or people that are in business, you understand that we don't always agree with everything. Yeah, someone's confused. I'll get to some of your questions there. This is new a little bit, but so the confusion starts from how we're ruled and how we interact with the system and with the archons. Okay, so when we dive into the internet, when we dive into Facebook, when we take in the media that is out there that is being produced and controlled by the archons, we are now in the black magic game. Okay, the internet, it was invented by the US military. Okay, there's a reason for it, and there is a lot of good things that are coming out of it, and there's also a lot of bad things that are coming out of it. The bad things that I see right now is it's controlling a lot of people's lives they're going on and they're having all this information come at them. And a lot of this information is not information that they're choosing to take into their being. It's actually being programmed at them, and that's where the word programming comes. And the same thing happens on the internet. You know, it's being ruled pretty much by Google, and that's another podcast video in itself talking about Google. But in any event, Google gets to decide what search results are in the search results, and then Facebook, Zuckerberg and his team get to curate what gets put into our feeds and so forth. And all this really is it's information coming into our minds, okay? And this is where the confusion comes in, because we're having so much different information coming in. We're not in control of our own minds, because it's by, the Archon Draco reptilians, exactly. It's by them programming their information into our minds, and it gets us confused. We start taking that in. It could start the first thing in the morning when you wake up and you open your email or you open your Facebook feed and you start reading the words, which are really energy footprints of people, or the media words, what's being put out there by Alex Jones or whatever media outlet, etc. Those are energy footprints, and they're being put into our minds, and they're making them confused, because we're essentially not controlling our minds the first thing in the morning by certain rituals and so forth. And that's really where religion comes into play and where rituals come into play. The word ritual comes from the word rite, okay? And the rite used to be different rites that were performed within a tribe for their specific culture, for their society. And they would have priests that would perform these different rites and these rituals. And they would do it for the whole tribe. And it was, for that race, for those people. And a lot of us have lost connection with these rites, with these rituals. And we're basically completely confused, and we have no way of focusing and taking control of our minds. Okay, so a lot of us out there, including Gnostics, including myself sometime, we're not in control of our minds, because we're giving it to another entity, which could be this phone right here that you're listening to, you're watching. It could be Facebook, it could be the computer, it could be the latest rant from Alex Jones, and all that energy and that negative flow coming into your being. So, you can even have an enter ritual by walking into rite. And so that's, Spencer, I kind of get where you're getting at. Walking is one of the things that I love to do, and I forget what they call those it's like the labyrinth, right? But you would walk in a circle, and I forget, it's like a maze, and you walk around in the maze, and you eventually get to the point within the middle. And what that did, if we look at it, it trained your mind to focus on one thought, to focus on one thing. And when you're doing that, when you're focusing on that one thing, whether it's getting to the point in the middle of the maze or to the labyrinth, etc., earthing, exactly. We're getting back in touch not only with ourselves, but with earth and with that focus inside. And this comes with the symbol, if you guys have ever seen it, the circumpunct. Okay, so I'm doing this symbol right here, but this I'm not Freemason Illuminati. I'm showing you the eye. Okay, our eye is the circumpunct. Okay, the circumpunct is one of the most important symbols and one of the most oldest symbols in the world. Manly P. Hall, he had a quote about it. He said that the circle within the circle of the circumpunct, so the circle is with the dot in the middle. The dot is us, that's our soul. And the outer circumference is where we're at now. And our goal is to get back to the dot in the middle. Okay, so sweating a little bit here. It's getting hot. It's like 80 degrees here in Fallbrook. But the whole idea of the teachings of the circumpunct are to get us back to ourselves, to our soul, and to use that point in the middle to operate from. Okay, so The circumpunct, that's a symbol of white magic, okay? It's a symbol that you can concentrate on. It's a symbol that you can meditate on. And your idea is that you are that point. And sorry, I'm reading some of the messages here. You know, thank you for, I'm going to respond to some of them in a second. I'm trying to kind of get my points across here. Again, get my point across. So the idea is to become that point within the circle. Okay, and how do we get to that point within the circle? We get there by focusing, meditation, and so forth, by blocking out all the different distractions. So that's where meditation comes in, and the different rituals and so forth. So in order for us to become Gnostics, or what I like to say, Gnostic warriors in this world, in this war for our souls, is that we got to take control back of our minds, and it has to happen with rites and rituals that happen in the morning. And a lot of us are starting our days, and we're turning on the computer, our phone, we're checking our feeds, we're checking our email, and we're getting these energy imprints from other beings that are basically beaming into our minds, and they're fragmenting our souls, okay? And this is where I believe, if you've ever seen the symbol for chaos magic, it's the circumpunct, guys, okay? It's a circumpunct, and then there's basically fragmented lines going out from the point, okay? So when you see this chaos magic, that's a symbol for black magic, okay? That's fragmented energy, okay? That is your soul being fragmented into 20 different lines and so forth, and they're all scraggly. Your idea, or our goal, is to control that by lessening the impact of the chaos magicians on us. And the way we do that is by controlling what we take into our bodies, what we can take by controlling what we take into our minds. So what we take into the videos cut out, guys. I'm not sure here. I don't know if you guys could see me. Just let me know. I'm here at my house. I don't know if this is broadcasting right. It's been cutting out a couple times. So just let me know. Just say, yeah, I could hear you. I could see you. Thank you. But remember that the chaos magicians are in charge of this world right now, and there's a reason for it. And the reason, thank you, Brian. All right, cool. So the reason for it is basically that the people cannot control their own minds, okay? I'm guilty of this. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there are guilty of that as well. And that is our goal as Gnostics. Thank you guys, Spencer, Monica, I appreciate that. Ian, awesome. So again, the idea with the way that we're governed right now, governmenty, our minds are controlled by people who think that we can't control our own minds. And I want to tell you something, they're right. Most of us can't. We have fallen from the dot, from our soul to the circumference. And now we're basically clay in the hands of whoever wants to control us, you know, and we need to take that back, that power back. And how we do that is we control our day from the morning until the night. And we have various rituals and habits that we start putting into our life that will make that happen. Okay, it could be something as simple in the morning. You know, maybe you have a habit like I have had for the past several years, and it is a broken habit, I'll tell you that, where I basically turn on the computers when I start my coffee, my organic coffee, I grind it, and then I go to the computer and I check my email and I check my Facebook feeds and etc. And there's a plane going overhead right now, so sorry for that. But what that has done is it's opened my mind to information and energy out imprints that are basically cannabis extracts. Great, guys. Smoking marijuana, I feel that puts you back in with your soul. It puts you back, it grounds you, it earths you. And that's what I feel cannabis does. It helps to put you in a meditative state, but it also could be a double-edged sword. You could abuse cannabis, just like anything could be abused. So I'm a big believer in cannabis and marijuana. It puts me in a great meditative state. It puts me in touch back with my soul. But it also can be abused. You could get burned out and tired and you don't do anything. So there's different things that you could do to get you back in touch. Back to the morning rituals. One of the things I started today is I took a nice little walk. So instead of grabbing my coffee the first thing, I put all my electronics to the side and I went and I took a nice walk. And I just thought about this video actually and why I was having so many issues in my life. And it's because I wasn't controlling my mind. I was letting other people, media, people's problems to kind of control where I went with it. And it has to stop. And today it's stopping. Okay, and it's gonna begin with the teachings of the circumpunct, okay? The eye, okay? The focus, the pupil. We need to focus on the good things, on the habits and the rituals that are going to, take us to that next level, to take us out of this chaos, okay? The Freemasons, they have a saying, a motto, ordo ab chaos. And it means order out of chaos. And if you look at that simple statement, that motto right there, they're building order out of chaos. So right now we are in a chaotic state, humanity, our world. You can look at the media, everything that's going out there, and the goal is to get back to the circumpunct, to get back to order. But we're not there yet, and we're a far way from that area. But believe me, the powers that be, the people that are ruling, know exactly what they're doing and what's going on. And what we could do as people, as Gnostics, if you call yourself a Christian, if you call yourself an atheist, whatever you want to call you, what we could do with ourselves is we could take the power back for ourselves. I'm not saying, fight the government, be an anarchist. I believe all that stuff actually takes the power from you. You're fighting, tanks with your fist, right? You're going to go take on the government and you're going to fight them and what's going on. That's never going to happen. It's just a complete waste of time, and that's when you give your power up. And here, I'm going to start answering some questions here. Here's one. It says, do you believe in the secrets of the earth that God, Zeus, keeping for the humans at this time from the beginning of the universe? So the teachings of Zeus, they actually come from the island of Crete. And Crete actually gave a lot of their teachings. They're known as the Minoans. The Cretans, you heard of them as the Canaanites, the Phoenicians, the Philistines, etc. All those teachings on Zeus came from the island of Crete. And it was on the island of Crete, on Mount Ida, where Zeus was hidden from Saturn, Kronos. So that's where the story goes. So Zeus, as far as the ancient world goes, in Egypt, Zeus was Osiris. In Rome, he became St. Peter. He was also known as Jove. And we know what happened to St. Peter. He was crucified upside down, right? So we have the upside down cross in the Vatican. That's when truth was turned upside down. That's when the upright pentagram was turned and it was inverted upside down, and humanity was placed on its head, and where we get today, the confusion, the chaos, etc. So Zeus, who is Zeus? Who is Osiris? Who is Jove? Who is St. Peter? Who is Odin, the one-eye Odin? It is Jupiter in the heavens, okay? And when I say Jupiter, I'm talking about as above, so below. Okay, what they did in the mysteries, whether it be Greece, whether it be Egypt, whether it be in the Norse mysteries with Odin, is they allegorized all these mysteries and they codified them with names and they gave them personas. So that's why in Greece, a lot of the gods took on human form and they became gods and they were all muscular, and it was so the people could relate to the stories, but they weren't given the truth because they weren't initiates into the secret societies of the time. So if you weren't a member of a secret society, you weren't in the elite, you did not know exactly what they were talking about when they talked about Zeus and the stories of him being hidden in a mountain on Mount Ida in Crete. And his mother had helped him as well, hide him there. And he was hidden in a cube. And what's interesting It was a black cube, guys. And this black cube, this stone, we see in Mecca. We see this in Saudi Arabia with the Abrahamic religion of Islam and the Muslims. We see the cube, Zeus, and they go around it and they pray and they touch it. In the religion of Islam, it's the religion of Venus, and the color is green. And I'm not going to get too much into that right now. I don't want to offend anybody, or I want to be really clear with what I want to say when I start talking about the various different religions and so forth. But they were all allegorized, they were all hidden, and these truths were hidden from the people, so they didn't understand what was going on. But long story short on Zeus, back to that, is that Zeus is Jupiter, Osiris is Jupiter, Odin with his one eye is Jupiter, represents Jupiter, and Jupiter is the planet where we get our consciousness. Okay, this is where the ancients and the priesthood back in Egypt decided that Jupiter was going to be the god of all people. Okay, we see this today in politics. Everybody can't agree about anything. I see it in Gnosticism. I see it in the truth movement. You know, we do agree on certain things, but there's a lot of things we don't agree on. And this form of human debate has been happening for the last 4,000 years. And what the priesthood decided back in Egypt, it was during the Ramesses dynasty, was that they were going to elevate one god above all the gods. They were sick of having 500 different gods, so they decided at that time Osiris, Jupiter, Yahweh, Jehovah of the Jews would be the supreme God. Okay, and that's where we get the religion of Abraham. Abraham, Ham, that's another name for Egypt. So that's where all the religions come from. They come from the east, and they have moved their way out here to the west. And that's why you'll see in Catholicism in Rome, the Vatican, you have all the obelisks. You have all this in Freemasonry. You have a lot of respect paid towards the east. The lodges facing towards the east. It's because that's where all of us pretty much come from. We come from that area, and we came out into the west. So, hey, you're welcome, Brian. It's great to see you guys out there. And again, this is one of my first videos that I've done, and I'm just out here in my backyard, and I kind of just wanted to talk today about why we're so confused and so forth, and kind of went into a talk a little bit about Zeus right now and so forth. Yeah, thanks for sharing, guys. Nina, everybody. Yeah, so a lot of us here in the United States, this is, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of The Secret Destiny of America by Manly P. Hall. The first president of the United States, Freemason, George Washington, you know, he laid the cornerstone in the Capitol with his Freemasonic regalia on and so forth. This is a human experiment in freedom. And it's a freedom that is regulated. You know, Manly P. Hall had said that humans only have a certain amount of free will. And I believe that is true. You know, we're lucky to live here in the United States of America, where I could talk freely and I could practice Gnosticism and not be killed. I can go to a party, I can go down to the park on any given day, and I'll see different races playing together, having fun. Christian with a Muslim. I see this every day, you know, and I'm a Gnostic, you know, and I'll go and I sit back and I go, wow, we live in such a great place, you know, that all these different races and these people can get along and so forth, you know. And I see this in the parks. I see this when I go to the restaurants. It's on the social media where you see everybody fighting, you know. So I believe that we live in a great country right now, and that things, the truth, the apocalypse, the lifting of the veil is happening right now with the rulers that are ruling our world. And they're kind of showing us what's going on, you know, with the Russia and the Putin thing and so forth. So this is about religion, guys. I know I posted some things about religion the other day. Hey, Anka, yeah, if you want to go to GnosticWarrior.com, that's my website. That's the website for the Order of the Gnostics. And you could find a lot more information there. I have a book called The Order of the Gnostics, Ancient Teachings for the Modern Gnostic, and you guys can get a lot of these teachings in there. I talk about the gods, I talk about Jupiter and so forth. I talk about black magic and, you know, how this all works and so forth. So if you guys want to check out GnosticWarrior.com, you can see more of my work there. I also have a book you can find on Amazon. It's called The Order of the Gnostics, Ancient Teachings for the Modern Gnostic. A lot of what I like to do is I like to focus on the now. You and I are here now. We're incarnated today in the year 2017, and I want to use Gnosis and the Gnostic teachings to get me through life. I don't want to just talk about the past history of the Gnostics, even though I love it and I'll talk about it. But yeah, in regards to the gods, they were all basically planets and different energies that are all inherent in humankind. So back to Zeus, back to Jupiter. Jupiter is where we get phosphorus. The Latin name for phosphorus is Lucifer. Okay, so Lucifer is that fallen angel in the Christian religion that falls to earth. He's the rebel angel, etc. And that's where this knowledge was used to go against mankind, the knowledge of the planets, the knowledge of alchemy and so forth. So that phosphorus is the red eye on Jupiter. So that's where you get the all-seeing eye of God. You get Odin as well, where he has his one eye. That one eye is symbolic of the one eye on Jupiter, and that one eye is phosphorus. And phosphorus is the Alpha and Omega. It's Jesus. Jupiter is also called the morning star in the Bible. It's the God of all gods. It's the one God. And someday in the future, I don't know if this is going to happen in my lifetime, but these teachings that I'm talking about, as soon as mankind can control his mind and he doesn't need rulers to dish out every rule to them and so forth, these teachings are going to be given out to everybody like they were in the ancient past. And it was in this age that they were hidden, they were allegorized, they were put into secret societies. And, you know, 99% of the people in secret societies have no idea what I'm talking about, nor will they get it. Just because you join a secret society, whether that be the Freemasons or it be the Golden Dawn or the Rosicrucians, you know, you're only going to get a certain amount of information. It's up to you guys out there to take this information and to use logic and reasoning to come up with your own basically conclusions, you know, because that's where we're at right now. And that's what I've done with Gnostic Warrior. The Order of the Gnostics is I want to take these teachings and put them out there, but they are no good until we can control our own mind. So that's where this all comes back down to, is controlling your own mind. I don't know how to listen to all, or I'm going to check a couple of these messages. Yeah, so what's great about the religion of Gnosticism that I feel, it is a religion. It's a way of life. And it takes basically, it cuts out all the dogmas of dogmatic religions and so forth, and it puts it to somewhat of a science, and it's the science of living. You know, that's what Gnosticism is about. And it's not about the myths and, you know, the archons and Yaldabaoth and all that stuff. Those are all teachings that were allegorized and they were hidden. Even the Nag Hammadi, all these ancient teachings, those are all allegorized. I believe some of it is disinformation out there that has been put out there purposely, because all of this was hidden when the Catholic Church came about and so forth. So I'm going to get into that. I'm going to talk more about it. My lineage, just so you know, and I want to leave you guys with one last thing. if I could do anything to help you guys out there, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, all right? Who are you guys? Who are you? Are you the name that you've been given? Are you just an American citizen? Are you the culmination of all the ancestors that have went before you? All the people, the grandmothers, the ancestors that have fought, that have died, that have lived before you. Every one of those people are part of your genetics, okay? That's who you are. That's why the Bible starts with Genesis. It's about your genes. If you find out who you were, who your tribe was, you're going to find out more who you are, why you do what you do, and so forth. So that's what has been disconnected from a lot of us, is our tribal history and our ancestors. And this is where you'll find out a lot about who you are, where your family came from, and why you do what you do. And what's great about it is when you start studying your tribe and the family where you came from, and I did this through a DNA test. I found out who my tribe was, where they came from. It literally catapulted my Gnostic teachings, my understanding a millionfold, okay? After I got this test, I found out where my family came from, and then I started testing or studying what they were teaching these people in these different areas, and I started connecting to these teachings like never before. So that's what I believe Gnosticism, a lot of is ancestral memories that are coded within our DNA. Plato had said all learning is remembering. So if you guys want to know who you are and you want to study that, find out your DNA. And what might start happening when you do that, you'll become a little delusional. And don't get caught up with all the past history and all the myths and the epics and the fighting and so forth. Just study it, and that'll help you understand who you are, why you do what you do. And then also you'll come across teachings that your ancestors had taught, and you'll literally get it. You'll get it like nothing before. So when I started studying the actual teachings of my ancestors that are coded within my DNA, it made me basically figure everything out within like 2 years. And I haven't mastered myself by that, but it really made me figure out who I am, where we came from, and it put me on the road to learning, and all learning is remembering. You know, alchemy, science, etc. Was huge. No, I haven't seen Blue Avion. Man is the God trapped in an atom. That's right. We are all gods. We are all descendants of God. What did I say? Jupiter. We all come from that planet. We all have the God particle within us. We're all just different worms. We're different types of serpents. So that's another thing in another story. So anyways, guys, this is pretty much going to be it for the video. Again, the title of the video was about confusion, why we're so confused and so forth. And the reason is because we're giving that energy to other entities out there, whether that be our friends or people on Facebook, etc. And we need to start implementing rites and rituals in the morning that we implement, where we could take that power back, that control, and we could operate from the circumpunct, which is like our eye, and we could operate from the pin, the circle, the dot within the circumpunct, and we can go out from there. And we could start taking control of our day and so forth. So I'm going to start talking more about rituals and habits and what those could do for us. Amun, Spencer, definitely. That's meditation. Amen. That's where amen comes from. It's actually supposed to say Amen. So, amen, Amen. Very powerful word. That's where all our power comes from. On, it's the same, that's an archon and so forth. It's an energy power source, a conduit is what on means. So in any event, guys, if you want to check out more of my work, please go to gnosticwarrior.com. Of course, I have the Facebook page. If you're finding this on your feed, check it out. If you want to find out who you are, get a DNA test to find out who your tribe was. You'll find out so much about who you are, why you do what you do. You'll actually connect with ancestors in the past that could have been you. because we're all immortal. We all lived before. And most of you that are watching this understand that. Here's my shirt, The Order of the Gnostics, GnosticWarrior.com. So check it out, The Order of the Gnostics. We're back from the past. We have never died. A lot of the teachings in Freemasonry, they come from the Gnosticism. All the Catholic Church fathers, they were Gnostics. They were just fighting the other Gnostics in Greco-Egypt, all right? And they were pissed off at them. That's who became the Jews, who we call today. And there's, you know, they have this negative connotation. That's where all the banking had started, was in the Eastern Empire in Crete, where money was invented, where the Bible on Biblos was invented, papyrus, where writing was invented, was on the island of Crete, the island of creation. That's where my ancestors come from. The Gnostics, we're back, we're here, and this is the Order of the Gnostics, year 2017, the apocalypse. We're lifting the veil of these teachings of ancient Gnosticism, and we're going to give it to you like it really is. Thank you for watching and listening, and I will do more of these videos. If you leave some comments here, I'll go back later in today and I will answer them. If there's anything else that you would like to see me talk about, or you'd like to know on one of these videos, let me know. Again, this is one of my first selfie videos, so thank you for all the likes, the shares, the loves. Love you guys. I walk the right-hand path. I walk the truth, the path of truth, of love. I'm here to serve you guys all. That's what I do. So am I still following God? Yeah. I follow where I come from, the planet Jupiter. That's where my energy comes from. I honor it. I am that I am, right? Spencer, you got it. I am God in the fallen state, and I need to lift myself back up and control my mind and reason and so forth, and act like a God on earth. Love my fellow humans, whether they're of a different religion or a race. Don't get caught in the black magician bullshit of the politics and the polar ticks. Keep you all polarized, us slaves, us citizens fighting one another, as opposed to working on ourselves. That's what Gnosticism does, and a Gnostic does. He works on himself. He doesn't get involved in all the bullshit politics and so forth. And that's why it was said that politics are deadly for the philosopher, because the wise man knows that there's no wisdom in politics, even though there is a wise plan going on behind the scene. All right, a lot of these fat politicians that we see today, these dirtbags, these guys that don't know shit. I'm not talking about every politician out there. I'm going on a different rant, but they're going to be gone. All right, they're going to be out of here, and we're going to rule ourselves, but we will have a king. And there's going to be a king, and there always is a king, and there always was a king. And they're here, and they're going to let you know who they are soon. And that information's coming out. But anyways, this again is Mo, Order of the Gnostics, GnosticWarrior.com. Thank you for listening and watching. Take care. Control your mind. Start your morning with rituals and habits that will let you do so. Prosper. Be in peace. Be in love. Spend some time with your family on this Sunday. Take care, guys. Love you. Bye.